Avatar: The Last Airbender has truly stood the test of time, remaining popular over almost 20 years from its release date. It only grew more popular when released on Netflix in 2020. But how did it stand the test of time? Why do people love Avatar: The Last Airbender so much? Why should you watch it now, if you didn't back when it started? Here are the 6 core elements, sorry we couldn't narrow it down to 4, that make the Nickelodeon series such an engrossing watch for audiences of any age. The central idea of Avatar: The Last Airbender simultaneously spans 100 years of fictitious history and is straightforward enough to be encapsulated in the first 40 seconds of the film's opening sequence. A young boy named Aang, who has mastered the elemental control of air through a martial art called airbending, must finish his training in water, earth, and firebending in order to restore balance to his war-torn world and prevent the raging Fire Nation from conquering the entire planet. The show's structure follows that fractal quality. It starts with a straightforwardly stated, but narratively expansive goal. Yet, the manner that plot is introduced in the first season comes out as trite and predictable. Aang is a happy-go-lucky type of chosen one with a cute animal sidekick. He meets Katara, a young waterbender who resembles a Hermione Granger-style try-hard girl boss sidekick in the first episode, as well as her cocky sibling, Sokka, an impetuous water tribe warrior and comedic relief butt monkey. Their first encounter feels entirely typical of children's television fare. But a big part of the appeal of The Last Airbender is how it subverts these basic, well-known cliches and reveals the deeper goals and character struggles hidden beneath these 3 fundamental archetypes. And the show gives them a challenge on the Wagnerian scale. They aren't just trying to save the world. They're trying to break a cycle that began generations before most of them were even born. Shows aimed at young people can be pretty goofy or over the top, but The Last Airbender is slyer about its humor. Some of it is agreeably dorky, like when Aang, who's been preserved in ice for 100 years and keeps expecting the world to be as he remembers it from the past, starts trying to show how hip and with it he is by busting out century-old Fire Nation slang. Some of it is slapstick, like the running gag about the traveling cabbage vendor who always manages to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. But a lot of The Last Airbender's humor is based in quick-moving banter and rapidly changing situations. And it not only keeps the pace brisk, it helps establish the characters' relationships. Like when exiled Fire Nation Prince Zuko keeps getting his towering rage and angst punctured by gentle jibes from his hilariously dry Uncle Iroh. You can see this in episodes The Cave of Two Lovers, Season 2, and The Beach in Season 3. The Iroh-Zuko relationship is a key component of The Last Airbender's deep emotional core, yet it wouldn't function as well without a long-term storytelling strategy. Because so much was planned in advance, The Last Airbender writers Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko were able to plant seeds early on that allowed the characters to grow naturally over time. The series was originally intended to be a 3-season plot, centered around 3 major arcs. Zuko begins as a stereotypical bully, but as his past is slowly revealed, it first helps to understand why he is so angry. Then it gives him time to grow and evolve. Sokka develops from a stereotypical comedic character to a deft tactician who contributes just as much to the team as his classmates, with superhuman abilities. All the characters visibly learn from their mistakes, mature from the early young versions of themselves, and collect trauma as the story proceeds. Watching them develop from kids into young adults is one of the most gratifying and relatable aspects of the show. Kids' action movies are known for having memorable villains, but not often for having complex ones. Here, The Last Airbender has plenty of cake, offering nasty megalomaniacs who lurk in the shadows until their plans are almost realized, smirking jerks who abuse their position of authority to trample on those beneath them, and vengeful killers who, in their wrath, attack both the guilty and the innocent. But the show eats its cake too. Other villains include revolutionaries whose disregard for collateral damage springs from an immature reliance on black and white ideologies. There are emotional manipulators whose sadism is rooted in the inferiority complex that their upbringing has instilled in them. And then we have the Avatar's villain redemption arc, which slow burns through more than half of the series' total runtime. Prince Zuko of the Fire Nation takes an agonizing 2 steps forward and one step back on the road to self-actualization, rather than rushing through his heel-face turn. If you listen to any debate over whether Rise of Skywalker, a $275 million movie starring Disney's finest and brightest, earned its conclusion, eventually someone will mention how much more appealing the same plotline was in the Nickelodeon animation series Avatar: The Last Airbender. The same holds true for talks of Game of Thrones' final season and its abrupt hero-to-villain switcheroo. The Last Airbender actually took the time to portray antagonists well, so those critics are not mistaken. The big problem with most stories about superpowers is that heroes and villains alike tend to use them in the same way over and over. Avatar was heavily inspired by anime, but old school anime in particular tended to fall back on very predictable power use. Think about the original Voltron, ending every single battle with Keith yelling "Form Blazing Sword" and cutting the monster of the week in half. But Avatar feels much more like a tabletop RPG in the way that the characters' powers develop over time, with use and with cooperation. Some entire plot lines revolve around them learning new powers, or the best ways to apply what they already know, or in one chilling case, the worst way to apply a power. More significantly though, the writers and directors are impressively creative about how bending powers might be applied. Different characters have different styles and areas of focus. The characters might try new things in combat, and they all learn to synergize their powers in exciting, unexpected ways. So every new significant battle is a surprise, and a thrilling escalation. One of the show's pinnacle animation accomplishments is undoubtedly the outstanding fight scenes in Avatar. You probably won't find another Western animated series that devotes this much time to accurate recreations of martial arts forms, let alone the inventiveness with which they are used. Then there are the actual elements. Complex hand movements cause gouts of water and flame in various colors to spread throughout a battlefield. Lightning is drawn out of the air by a firebender with the same ferocity as an Olympian. The observer can still discern that the stone pillar weighs many tons, despite being propelled through the air by a single stroke from an earthbender's foot. But focusing on the action sequences alone does Avatar: The Last Airbender a disservice. The show is an absolute triumph of visual design, from Aang's iconic tattoo, to the robes of a Kyoshi warrior, to the magnificent walls of Ba Sing Se, and of acting and animation. In Avatar, bodies stretch and flop for humor, posture and gesticulate for drama, and the camera holds on faces for emotional beats, a testament to the work of the Korean animation studios involved in its production. This is such an amazing story, and it truly does deserve to continue to grow and strive throughout the years. We love that the fanbase continues to grow and expand every single day. What are your thoughts on Avatar and how it's continued to grow stronger throughout the years? Let us know down below or on our Instagram. And until next time, as always, stay flamin'!